Hello, my name's RJ Bayley. I'm a writer and voice man? Well, my day job is voice artist, so I'm a voice artist for popcorn horror as well now. This is me stating the case that Resident Evil 7 successfully restarted the games. Now, it needs to do the same for the movies. Right from the start, the Resident Evil movies were drastic departures from the games they take their names from. Gone was Chris Redfield and Jill Valentine as the protagonists. Gone was wandering around an almost empty mansion by yourself. Gone was the slow creeping horror of just hearing zombies shuffling at the other end of a hallway and the occasional dog going through a window. Instead, we got Milla Jovovich. Nothing wrong with that. I quite like Milla Jovovich as an actress. With a machine gun and a red dress, battling an evil little girl, artificial intelligence, and laser grid slicers. From there, it only got more bombastic, overblown, and distant from the original games, only throwing in some fan service characters like Jill Valentine, Chris Redfield, and Leon S. Kennedy. We have, however, now had the sixth and final installment of the Resident Evil film series, the imaginatively titled The Final Chapter, bringing to a close a series that has an impenetrable mythology, mostly starting in Part 3, Resident Evil Extinction. And if you thought the Resident Evil movies had an intimidating continuity over 6 films, try the games! It was bad enough in the main series of games, which by Resident Evil Revelations 2 had reached 10 major entries. However, if you count all of the installments, by the latest game, Resident Evil 7 Biohazard, we've reached a total number of 24. Luckily, however, Resident Evil 7 comes close to sweeping away everything that came before it and is all the better for it. It received widespread critical acclaim, and while I'm a bit late to the party and only just completed it, I too echo that praise. With new protagonists, a wholly new story, a new setting, new zombies, that's in quote marks, you can't see it, I'm doing it with my fingers, but I wrote it in quote marks, it's hard to do this as a voice artist in audio. To kill, the walking fungus that are the moulded, and a new way of structuring your main antagonists, a series of one-on-one encounters that build up to an epic boss fight with each. The game could easily not be called a Resident Evil game at all, aside from a few tangential links to the wider Resident Evil universe. Returning to real survival horror, with inventory and ammo management playing a role in the fear as much as the Baker estate and the brilliant music, Resident Evil 7 takes the franchise back to its roots. With a radical switch to first-person view, but ultimately still exploring a terrifying mansion with strange puzzles and zombies, there's those quotes again that you can't see, just know I'm doing it with my fingers now, another futile attempt at expressing that grammatical quirk. The game is definitely different, while still very much a Resident Evil game. The first film could have had it so much easier. The blueprint of a good, and importantly for producers, modestly budgeted movie was there. A team of special law enforcement operatives become trapped in an eerie mansion they've been sent to investigate. As they attempt to uncover the secrets held within, they have to fight their way through an increasing amount of zombies. Simple. Now the film series has ended, it will inevitably be rebooted within a few years. Thanks to Resident Evil 7 itself, the property is now too healthy to not be reprocessed, repackaged, and redistributed. So why not repeat the remarkable success of the new game with the movies? You've got a very straightforward setup of Ethan investigating a message from his missing wife that she's trapped in the Baker estate, and his subsequent journey through a hell of monsters to find her. Like the first game offered, you've even got something that suggests, and will undoubtedly benefit from, a modest budget for a mainstream film. There's nothing that some increasingly affordable CGI can't do, and a lot of the monstrosities can be tackled by mostly practical effects. Anyone remember the genuinely horrifying Jaggeroth and Hemivores from Doctor Who? Just imagine a combination of those on a budget bigger than classic Who could offer and painted black and slimy. That low budget will also allow us the 18-rated Resident Evil film that we've been wanting since the first movie was announced way back in 1999. The game, and hopefully a film based on it, is so reminiscent of the original in its most basic form, it can really have its cake and eat it by deliberately evoking the 1996 classic and delivering us a semi-pseudo adaptation of that game as well. Something we have always wanted. And if you really want to let your fan-magination, thank you TM, copyright, run away with us, we can use that ending of Resident Evil 7, you know what I'm talking about if you've completed it, don't you? To somehow lead into a full-blown adaptation of the original game. Although, given the startling quality of Resident Evil 7, I've no doubt that the sequel will be equally as accomplished. So, before we run away with ourselves into setting up a sequel to this film I'm calling Resident Evil Biohazard, I'll happily see what comes next for the games and then judge whether or not it would be a more suitable sequel to this rebooted film series. Resident Evil 7 proves you can take a very well-worn game series that was rapidly on its way to becoming a dead cat, thank you Resident Evil 5, 6 and Umbrella Corps, and reinvent it in a way that will delight long-time fans as well as welcoming in a swathe of new ones. All they've got to do now is film it. Check out my other creative projects that I do for my day job, like my recently released vampire audiobook, via my Facebook page, just by searching RJ Bayley Voice Artist. That's RJ Bayley, not the normal way, I'm sorry, I've got a freak of a surname. And also visit my website, rjbayley.com, rjbayley.com. You can also reach me on Twitter and discuss that ending, possibly on DMs, no spoilers please for those who haven't completed the game, at RJ Bayley. Thanks for listening. See you next time.